Okay, 10 minutes to go. Here's another video in what I'm going to call the Attack and Defense series. This is a series of games where I try and illustrate some of the key points that I tried to make in the Attack and Defense article that I posted on the website. And this is largely trying to deal with the fact that with many of my double-digit Q players, they're thinking about the Go game in terms of territory, about my points and your points, my territory, your territory, and trying to protect territory at all costs. And I want to try and help them move their thinking away from that very territory-based view of the game to the game of Go as a game in which weak groups and strong groups attack and defend each other. It's an attack and defense game. So rather than trying to preserve or protect territory at all costs, what we're trying to do in the game of Go, certainly as double-digit Q players, and I'm sure something else begins to happen at Dan level that's beyond my reach at the moment, but as a single-digit Q player is actually understanding the game. My understanding has moved from a territory-based understanding of the game to an attack and defense understanding of the game. So I'm just going to walk through this game. I played it today. I finished it about an hour or so ago, but I thought it was interesting enough to talk about. So let's get straight into it. So it was played on OGS. No, it was played on PandaNet. I was black, my opponent was white. I was ranked at 6Q, my opponent's at 5Q. So black upper right corner. This is, you'll be instantly familiar with the shape from my games as black, where I play a high Chinese opening. So lower right 3-4, 4-4 lower left by my opponent, and then I make this high Chinese position here. And again, this is supporting two things. One, it's my style of play. I like to play around. I like to invite my opponents in so I can attack them, and so it supports that way of playing. That's my current favourite style, but also because I want to demonstrate these principles of attack and defence, of how we attack groups and how we defend groups, and how that shifts the balance of play. That's why I'm setting this up. So my opponent immediately tries to constrain that opening. I have a couple of options. I could pincer that stone, but I want to build something on the right side, so I simply make a high move here. And this is coming out at 016. He's actually saying to my opponent, well, you know, I'm really interested. I've played 4 stones in this area here, and I want those stones to start working together. So my opponent backed off from that, and so I attached. I attached to really secure those points in the corner. And it's not a huge amount of points. We're talking, you know, this kind of shape. There's maybe 15 or so points in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 15, 20 points tops. But it's a secure shape, and I can do this because I'm black. White presses here, so that I can't fold over the stone on 017, which I think is quite right. But to me, the stone on 015 that I played is a light stone. I'm not too worried about that stone, so I simply jump out here. White comes round and I block, and now that territory on the right hand side has turned into 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 20, maybe 25 points of solid territory in the bank, and that's okay. I'm good with that. Might feel like a contradiction saying, why are you collecting points? Wasn't this about attack and defense? But that comes in once we've got some stable position. So in terms of territory, black's ahead on the board right now. So white spends a sente move to pincer this black stone, and that's a black stone that I'm not really that interested in at the moment. So I use an approach to develop and expand my moya based around that 3-4 stone at Q3 and come here. So white takes a high approach, very similar to the move that I made in the upper right corner, and so I take a wide spread to build all of these stones together. So here, 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 with these 2 intermediaries, are creating a large framework on the lower right hand side of the board, and I would expect white to try and disrupt it, and indeed here comes the disruption. So white immediately comes in to try and break that. Now what's happening here? White has just created a super weak stone. It's a very weak stone. It's got lots of access to the center. It can run away in this sort of direction like this. It's got lots of access. I'm unlikely to kill it, but what I can do is make territory while harassing it, and that's the principle that I'm talking about in terms of attack. So black makes this move, which is both attacking the white stone so it's denying it maneuver in that direction. But notice how that's also building a lower side territory. So that stone is one of our ideal stones. The O5 stone is doing two things at once. It's protecting and building the lower right hand side territory, and it's restricting the freedom of movement of the white stone on Q5. So white extends quite rightly to make a base, and I prevent that base getting any wider. And again, if you read the principles of attack and defense that I put on the website, when we're under attack, the first maneuver that we have to do is try and widen our base and try and make some eye shape, try and make some space for eyes in there. So white comes up, and again I attach here to restrict that base. I want to keep white, if I can, down to no more than one eye. So white has got to run, and while white's running I can make territory around it. I won't kill it, I shouldn't aim to kill it, but that's what we're going to do. So white backs off, I draw away, and that's now given some pretty secure points for black on the lower side. If we count just from here, from the J line back to the corner, we're going 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12. There's 35 points of territory there, which together with 25 there puts me at about 60 points on the board, and that's got to be a good place to be. Remember that in a game of Go like this, we have 361 intersections on the board. My opponent and I are going to play somewhere in the region of 120 to 140 stones each. That's 280. That leaves about 80 vacant points. If you've got 50 or 60 points on the board, you've won the game. You have won the game, given that nothing big dies and all the rest of it. But against an even matched opponent, if you can get those kind of points in the bag, you're on a winning hand. Okay, so what happens now? So white comes out. So black takes the eyes away from white's shape. So white can't make any eyes by widening that base, by honeying at S9 or honeying at S5. There's no space for white to widen, so white comes down and then black pulls away, and then white comes out and black plays. So notice now how those white stones on the right hand side, there's 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 of them. These are the white stones we're talking about. 2 3 4 5 6. These stones have they've got some shape, they're not quite alive, but they're contributing nothing in points. And given that black was in that corner first, black stones here, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 of them here are delivering at least 20 points. So there's a huge imbalance between the points that black's getting out of these exchanges and the points that white is getting out of these exchanges. Okay, moving forward, so white comes up again. White's concerned about its shape, but for black this is no longer an urgent space to be. So black simply pushes out, because I don't want white to be coming into this kind of area and flattening down my territory on the right hand side. So this is an attacking move. This is threatening to awaken the agi of the stone on O15, but it's also giving height to my shape, height to this shape on the right side, and by height we mean it's reaching out to the center of the board. So white simply takes, and so I make this double tiger mouth connection, and everything's pretty strong and secure on that right hand side. So I'm comfortable, I'm very comfortable with the way this has gone. So black has got at least 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 3 to 11 33 35 points at the top right hand side, the right hand side and the upper right corner, and another 35 down on the lower side. It's a bit loose in this area. You know, there's invasion points for white in this kind of shape, so we shouldn't overcook that area. But at 35 and say 20, 55, I'm close to my 60 points, which is the magic number. That's what we should be aiming for. Okay, so white comes out here, so I extend once so that white can't easily get a fold and Atari, and then white attaches here. I came up to protect my territory, and this is good for me. This is good for black because it's solidifying that lower side territory. White makes terrible shape with the empty triangle, which you go we'll recognize that. That's just super bad shape. Black harneys so that white can't fold over, white extends, and then black invades. Now the thing about the shape here that we should notice is that white has two pretty strong walls. White is very thick in this area of the board, thick and impenetrable. Black can't punch a way through that shape, and actually white is pretty thick here as well, and the anchor stone between those two is here. So there are two territories available for white. There's a territory that's available in this area, and there's a territory that's available in this area. And black can't have both, because in Go we only play one stone per go. If we're trying to do too many things at once, we're going to fall into a really difficult situation. So as black, I did a probe there and white attached, and then I looked at the shape and went, actually a white really is super thick here. This is going to be the most difficult place for black to make any territory, so I'll come the other side, because this side, this shape here is weaker than the shape in the upper right, than this shape, and there's more space, and by space I mean literally space. There's that amount of space here between that, and here there's only that amount of space. Here we've got effectively 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines to live in, and here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We've got twice as much space on the left hand side as we have on the top, so that's the obvious place to try and live and try and disrupt white's territory, and not to try and do both. You can't do both, because otherwise I'll simply create two weak groups, and if you've got two weak groups and each turn you can only play one stone, you're going to get into trouble. So white caps out and knocks that black stone on f17 out of play, and so black slides once to the corner to see if I can make see what white's response is, because I want to make these 2 points, that point there and this point here, mi. And by mi, I mean if white takes c17, I will take c11. If white takes c11, I'll take c17. I've got two options there for my shape. So white pincers on this side, so I slide in. Now the black shape there, this shape we know as the car shape, because these with triangles are the wheels of the car, and that one there's the racing driver's head. If you tilt your head round on the side, it's known as the car shape. And it's alive. It's unconditionally alive. The Kosumi with the knight move in the corner, built around the 3-3, is unconditionally alive. We're all good there. So I've got a living shape in that upper left hand corner. Okay, what's white going to do? So white makes sure that this stone is out of play. This is very slack play by white. White has now played 3 stones, that one, and that one, in order to capture and catch that single black stone on f17. So that's giving black a lot of freedom, and I use that freedom for the pincer, because I know that the stones above, the c17, c17, b16, they're unconditionally alive. There's nothing white can do to hurt them. So now I'm going to use that live group as an anvil with which to attack this white stone here. So this new stone that I've just put in, c10 stone, is my hammer coming down against that stone using the anvil of the corner. So white jumps out, and I decide to attach underneath, and I decide to attach underneath deliberately because I want to make sure both sides are connected. It means that white will get a living shape on the edge, but I should be able to connect out. So white first wedges in, so I have to block this, and then white wedges here. It's quite a nice move. It's quite a nice move by white. I wedge in, white ataris, I counter atari, white connects, and I push through. That's it's known as a side Joseki sequence. It's a standard sequence, and if you don't know it, it is one you need to study and learn, and it's readily available. Obviously it would be difficult for white now if black was simply to connect at b14. So white comes out once in this way to separate the black stones, black pushes once in this direction and then connects, forcing an atari, but it means that this black corner is now connected, and these black stones should live, because once white protects this stone, I can connect, and so I've split this little white group on the edge exactly like this. This is what I'm talking about, not very articulately. So I now need to connect my stones, so I've now got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 liberties for that black group, but I've got 2 directions to move. I've got this direction to the outside, or I've got this direction to the inside. These are the two directions that this black group will move, and it really depends on what white should do. If it were me playing white, then almost unconditionally, well, first white's got to play here, because this becomes a sente, because if white doesn't make this play here, then black will play there and the whole white group will die. So white's got this move, which means black has got another sente move. And indeed in the game, white had to play this. After black connected, white's got to play this, so black jumps. White doesn't want to get cut off in this side. White doesn't want this white triangle here. White really doesn't want black pushing out here and catching these 3 stones behind a wall like that. So white goes back, fixes its shape there, and then black gets this in sente. And the reason it's a sente is because unless white answers right now, black can play down here on the corner, and that will kill the whole white group, and everything black's connected. That would be bad. So white plays another gote move, and then black gets this move. And now you can see how black's stones start to get some shape and how the points on the board are developing. And this is about this weak stone. So black has attacked this weak stone and actually got a living corner with a few points, but more importantly a living shape here. And notice this was potentially all of white's. What's white got out of this? White's got a wall, and white's got some points here. And if we just count these off, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 54 points. There's a good 50 pointer there. But black has got more on the right and the lower side, and black has effectively destroyed any more points potential for white on the left. So white comes in here, so black goes underneath, white, black, standard moves. White comes outside. I think this was a mistake because the corner was more important, because it means that black can slide into the corner. Now black's group is unconditionally alive. There's nothing white can do to prevent any of this. And white comes down here. So now let's look at the situation. White has got here, this is a living group with 2 eyes, but it's small. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stones for 2 points. That's very inefficient. White's got this group, which has yet to make any eyes. It's got potential for 1 eye inside there, but will take another move to do it. And white's got this, which also should have 2 eyes, but they're now the attack targets. Black here is alive unconditionally, black's unconditionally alive in the upper left, black is alive in the upper right, and black's alive on the lower side. So everything is fine. So I secure that, stop any jiggery pokery in the corner up there. White comes down, black wedges, and then black uses the threat of this cutting point to push out into that center a little bit. And the reason for the push to the center is the target of my attention at the moment is this group here, which actually in here has only got 1 eye. It can quickly make another eye by playing down here at E2, but currently in the center it's only got 1 eye. A placement stone by black there would turn that into a bulky 5 shape. By bulky 5 we're talking about that kind of shape. And that we know isn't a 1-eyed dead shape. Sorry, that one there and there. Okay. So black comes out, white takes the stone, and black makes sure that group is unconditionally alive. Double tiger mouth. White harneys, but black really doesn't want to fight a ko, so black connects, and now this is all resolved. The black stones are alive. Not many points, but alive. And then white wedges out. And black makes a kosumi. And white comes out, and black kosumis again, because black, I'd like to get into this area. I'd like to get into this upper side, or at least push the upper side down as low as I can, so it doesn't get any bigger than the 50 points we've already allocated to it. White wedges in. I want to be connected on the inside, and by connecting on the inside is I'm happy to give up the 2 triangled stones so long as I get a connection on the inside, because that puts pressure then on the white group. It puts this white group under attack, and we're constantly looking for weak groups that we can attack. So white cuts, and I can give that up easily, so I Atari, white takes, Atari again, white connects, and then I connect. And we can see that sequence is very favourable given the strategy. So now these stones are guarding the exit. This is the mouth of the sack, because the rest of white stones are surrounded by black stones, and actually white's only space for a second eye is here. So white pushes, and then black makes a double knight move. Knight move from here to here, and knight move from here to here, to make sure that the upper side and the lower side. The stone at H10 is not doing any work. It's finished its job. It's done its job, which was all about white shape, and can be given up as light. So now white invades. Now this is one of the great examples that I wanted to talk about, because normally what I would expect to see here, and certainly my DDK players would suddenly go, oh, what do I do? White's attacking me. Run, get underneath, protect the territory. And that's the mindset that I want to eliminate from your thinking. It really is. What I want you to think about is, haha, white's just give me a really weak stone to attack, so attack it I will. And what you do is you come out and you start that attack. And can you see the difference? If we just look at that again, that difference there means that white stone is actually making black cower and go behind, because after that white will do this, black here, white to here, and then white squashed black right the way down on that lower side, and white's all connected. It's a good outcome. It's a reduction move for white. So here we just go on the attack and we say, your stone at L4 looks a bit silly now, what are you going to do about it? And white says, well, I've got to protect it. So black comes out, white comes out, and now notice how these maneuvers by black are putting this group under extreme stress, because this group has not yet got eyes, and white's moves in this area have made black super thick. And that's why attacking weak stones, knowing what your targets are, and then going for that attack is so important. So white comes out. White suddenly said, well, I'm in trouble now, because if I do something to protect on this side and try and make some eyes like this, then black's going to do something like this, and my white group's going to die, and black's going to get all of that territory, and my attack will look very foolish, which was, going back, was the whole point of this move, is to make the L4 stone look foolish, to make this stone look like an overplay, too deep, just foolish. So let's keep going. So white jumps this side. So now black lays the groundwork here for keeping this double attack alive. So black's here is protecting this cutting point, making sure this cutting point isn't viable for white, so that there's no room for this white stone to run in this direction, because there's no viable cutting point there. That's what that move is all about. So white aims at that point, but black can make a tiger mouth there, tiger mouth with the H10, G9 and H8 stones. So the lower side is now connected to the corner. White comes out, so black has to connect, and white hanes, black pushes at once. Black hanes, and the stone on H12 is not an important stone. It's done its job, it's done its work. But what it gets is that black gets this move in, white extends, and then black jumps here. And this jumping is actually sealing the border between these two separate groups. It's either saying this group is connected to this one, or this one is connected to this one. So either the white group in the center is coming under attack, or the white group on the right hand side is coming under attack. So white comes here and black comes here to select finally this white group, the triangled white group, as the target for attack. This is the group that's now in black's sights. So white wedges out, and black doesn't block, because the block here would simply create, by blocking directly here at the triangle point at P10, you simply create lots of cutting points, and dangerous cutting points for black. So you just make sure your stones are connected, and this is also putting the left hand side, the center group, under attack again. White comes out. Again, there's no eyes here for whites, and so we don't have to worry too much. So black simply plays away and makes sure that white has got nowhere to go, nowhere to run to. So white comes here, black connects, that's reasonable. White plays here, black first plays here, and this is threatening now the cutting point, our cutting point at here, and saying to white, you're going to connect there. But the problem is, if white connects there with white's next move here, then black will come out here, and white has got no move. If white plays here, then black simply cuts here, and there is no move for white because of this. And now we'll cut in. We'll cut in again. So that's the aim of that. Aiming at that cutting point, white extended, and so black cut. So now the white group here, the triangled white group, is now isolated, and it's got to live locally with its own eye shape. I'm not sure whether white realised what was going on at this point, but white plays here, which I thought was an irrelevant move, because now black jumps in straight into the heart of the bulky 5, and this now should be a shape that's familiar to all of us. Here, 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 and even if white plays here or here, there's no eye, and there's no eye on the edge. So after this move, white is now dead on that group, and so the whole of the right side has now become territory. So although we attacked this group, it was the other side, the territory on the other side, it was this group, the triangled group, the P8 group, that became the victim of the attack. But the attack started, remember, with this move here, that was attacking the white stones to its left, but it ended up shifting direction. Because when we're attacking multiple weak groups, we actually don't mind, so long as we get territory as a result of our attack. So white connected, and then black made this shape, and white connected. There's only one eye there. There's nothing white can do about that. So black made sure there wasn't a cutting point in its shape. Might have been a little bit slack by black, but it was a belt and braces move. White pushed, so black protected on this side. So white's push and Atari at R10 no longer works, because black will just connect at S9. So then white tries to wedge out here, black here, white, black. White's got 2 liberties on the P3 stone, and black's group have got a lot more. White descends to gain liberties. White's now got 4 liberties. Black threatens to bridge under, connect the 2 sides on the edge, so white blocks that. Black Ataris, white connects, and black makes 2 eyes, one eye at S4 and another unconditional eye into the corner somewhere around S2, T1, T2, S1, that kind of area's got another eye. White tries to now attack this group, but this group has got a lot of liberties. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 liberties, and white's group here has only got, this white group here, because of the stones, has only got 4 liberties. So white wedges once, black wedges once, threatening the Atari. White connects, black descends, white descends, black descends, and white gives up the stones on that side. White's attack here I consider an irrelevance. That white was going to get the territory on the upper side, and there was nothing I can do, so I simply cut here to enlarge that territory and make sure that black got some more points on the lower side. White, black takes. So everything is now hunky-dory. All of the territory on this side of the board, from here all the way down to there and there, including the prisoners, is black territory. That's a game-winning territory. That's an absolute game winner. It's way bigger than anything white has on the board. If we just have a quick look, you know, white has got this area here and potentially a few points in here. So it's clearly black's game at this point. White is ensuring that there's a living space for a living shape for its white group here, so black harness. White cut was a mistake, because now black Ataris and white runs, and black cuts this stone, which is very bad for white, because it means that this white group now has only got 1 eye, and this is the closing stage of the game. So white Ataris, black takes, white pushes out, black blocks, white blocks and cuts, black connects an Atari, white comes out and black descends. The two white stones are now caught, which means the black group here, this black group here on the outside has now got two eyes and is unconditionally alive, and white has now still not got eyes for its center group. White pushes that direction and black blocks, and then white connects, obviously, but the white group there is not yet alive. It is actually, that's not true, because I gave up this stone. The white stones in the center are obviously connected and can get out at any point. Okay, so now black has sente, and black sente has got to be aimed at wiping out this final weak group. It's been left sitting there. White strong and solid in the center, but we have way more points on the right hand side of the board, plus the top left corner and some points in the lower left corner and this. So black's move comes in here to take away white's eye space. So black there. This is a slightly nonsensical move by white, but it's making sure that black has to fight a ko, or may have to fight a ko for life on the lower side. Black descends, white blocks, so black descends again. Again, we're looking at the bulky 5 shape at the core of this. White, black this way, white here. Black could have played a sequence here of Atari, connect, block like this, and now white has no eyes against black's eye, but there's still a chance for white to force a ko here. So if white plays this and black takes back, then there's a ko, then there's a ko fight. And I just thought I didn't need a ko fight to have to live. I just wanted to live unconditionally, so I didn't trigger that one. I actually just descended. Now the black group on the lower side, the EFG 1 2 3 group, is unconditionally alive with 2 eyes, and white still only has 1 eye, so there's still only 1 eye. The outside stones here, the outside positions are all, that's neutral, that's neutral, that's a neutral, and eventually this will only become 1 eye. There's nothing white can do here to make an extra eye. So black descends, white hanes, black hanes, and white resigns. And if we ask why has it resigned and we estimate the score, we can see that everything that's white in the lower left hand corner and along the side, it's black by 100 points. That's neither here nor there. The key point, the takeaway for this, the takeaway for all of my 10 minutes to go students and anyone else who happens to be watching and enjoying my YouTube videos, is as a double digit Q player, don't be cowed by attacks. Go is a game where strong and weak groups are attacking and fighting with each other, and out of that fight comes the opportunity to create territory. If you focus purely on the territory, it's a bit like, as I've said, just saying that soccer or US football is about points or goals. They're not about those. They're about people working together, individual members working as a team, coordination, all of that stuff. Goals and points scored, tries or points or whatever in rugby or football, they're simply the way we keep score. And in Go is the struggle between strong and weak groups, and the stronger groups are safe and stable, the weak groups are unstable, and out of that exchange comes territory, comes points, comes victory. Okay guys, that's that explanation. Thanks very much for watching this 10 minutes ago video. I hope that was useful. I hope it was instructive. I hope you followed what I was talking about. If you enjoyed what I've done, then please like, subscribe, all of the rest of that stuff. It really does help drive traffic to this site, and that helps more people in the world play Go, because that's what I do this for. I'm just a Go player like you. I love Go. I love explaining Go. I love teaching Go. That's what I do. Okay, thanks for that. See you soon guys. Bye for now.